Hey guys, so I'm out here today. There's not many people here today because it's rainy and it's not a great day, but it is a great day because I'm here and we're going to talk about sales. So I want to be like a little bit vulnerable or whatever. Like I just want to put myself out there so you guys can maybe relate and see if this advice is helpful to you in your life. But I am someone who used to do a lot of cold approach, right? Like 10 years ago when I was like playing a lot of video games and I was being sheltered and being like insecure in myself, and I just didn't do anything else, for a long time. And then I went outside and I started talking to people, and so this was a challenge that my friend gave me, and it was fun. I learned to, challenge myself. Like it didn't like lead to anything right away, but it got me to become more, more free in myself, more careless about what other people react, And I don't think it's a good thing to be like some people say. Like I don't think it's a good idea to be completely careless about other people's opinions of you, but I still think there needs to be a certain degree of like carelessness, a certain carefreeness, right? And that's what I developed by doing that, by going out here to places like this and like places that are a lot more crowded than this, and then just I'm just speaking to the camera, of course, but what I did is like I approached strangers in here, and if you're someone who is social, that might not be something very special, but I was someone who was like, insecure, so that helped me, give me more confidence, and the confidence comes fairly quickly. Right? You can get in state fairly quickly, but I also think confidence sometimes is a little bit overrated because I do think it comes relatively quickly. I think actually like the skill, the social like adaptness of like managing your own energy and connecting to people in a good way, I think that actually takes more. It's more difficult. It's not as flashy, but it takes more time to develop, and it's more difficult because it takes like a lot of nuance, and so you just learn as you go, right? And some other things that I learned from doing cold approach is just managing my own state so that I feel good. Like, or like I feel like okay when I'm like out here, and even when I'm trying to approach someone or whatever. It feels kind of weird, right, this word, but if you're a beginner, like it definitely does feel that way if you're a beginner. But my point is like all of this like translates to sales in the end of the day, and that's what we're here for, right? That's my journey. That's how I got into it. And it's not just sales, it's business and communication, right? So if you're speaking to a prospect on the phone, like that's just the same thing, right? You need to learn to do the approach, to do the dial, call someone up, and you need to expose yourself like a little bit, right? If you go to someone, if you make like a certain request that's like a little bit out there, you're putting yourself like in a little bit of an awkward situation. You're also putting the other person in a little bit of an awkward situation. But the thing is, you need to learn to manage those things properly. And if you can do that, then that's going to help, right? It's going to put yourself at ease. It's going to put the other person at ease. And then that's a big part of it, honestly. But it's not everything, of course. Like, if you just call someone up and they say like, hey, I say like, hey, is this John? Hey John, I'm just calling you. I was just on your website, blah, 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 blah. Right? That is not perfect, but it feels like a lot more smooth than like, John. Yeah. Who is this? You know what's going to happen then. So it's a start, you know. And then as you go from there, then once you go in the call and you get someone to, like, they are now comfortable with you and they're listening to you, that's the first thing you need to learn. And that's like a little bit similar to like just approaching someone a little bit. Cold approach is a bit more difficult, but it's a little bit the same thing. Once you get someone listening to you and once you get their attention, you still need to get them from point A to point B. So that's why you have the sales strategy and the tactics in place, right? That's why if you are a beginner, you have certain techniques you can hold on to. You can have a script. You can do, you know, there's certain like mini scripts you can do for like trial closes and things like that. So yeah, those are all things you can do. You need to have like the understanding, like if you're a beginner, go from intro to discovery to pitch, close. You need to kind of understand that basic structure, right? That's going to help you. But what's really more important is just like developing yourself, like as a person, like becoming more congruent with what you say, right? Not just having like a script, but understanding the right energy you need to have, understanding how you need to relate to people. And these are skills you develop in the situation of calling them up, but they're also skills you develop in the long term, right? As you develop yourself as a person, you learn to be more, you know, to listen to people better, to speak better, to manage certain situations better. And these are all super helpful in sales. So that's what you need to learn to do. It's what you need to learn to do in sales. Guys, getting a bit exciting here. But yeah, it's true. And really, most of the progress you're going to get from your growth as a person, and you're going to get from your strategy, right? Not just the superficial techniques that you learn in books, but the strategy. And I think you should definitely read the books because there's a lot of good information in there. There's a lot of good techniques and tactics and even strategy that you can use. But you should also learn to develop yourself as a person, to become more congruent, to become more authentic. When you speak to people, it doesn't feel like someone who's just trying to pressure them into buying something, but it feels like you're actually there because you believe you have actually something to sell them that's going to potentially solve a problem for them. And then you can just listen to them where that applies to their situation, and you just can try to manage the situation to the best of your ability. That's really what sales is, right? That's really all that sales is at the end of the day. And we try to make it complicated with like scripts and tactics and techniques. And they're all things that can help, but you know, if that's the only level that you're thinking about sales, then you know, you're probably just a beginner and you probably need to think a little bit more about growing as a person and growing a strategy, right? So anyway, guys, it was fun here today. I'm gonna check I wanted to have like a bit of a better strategy for my personal brand, because I did some research with like ChatGPT and I thought about a bunch of things. I'm gonna try to see how I can give you guys what I got, because I got something. I know I got something, and I'm gonna try to help you guys in the best way. And I'm gonna check like what the algorithm likes as well, but what you guys like. And I'll see you guys next week. I look forward to it. I'm gonna work on my cold calls, my sales meetings, and my client relationships. And we're going to grow in business, right? We're not necessarily going to make quick cash wins, but we're going to grow in business. And we're going to get to 10K at least, right? We're going to get at least to 10K. And I'll see you guys there, right? So have a great day. I'm out. Peace.